My dad is 86 years old. He's a musician and former school teacher. Very emotional person, which is good and bad. My dad has struggled with anxiety and depression throughout his life, but he seemed to have it under control until my mom was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And then things kind of fell apart. The day we got the news from the oncologist that there really was no point in giving her chemotherapy, he felt that she'd been given up on. And I actually took him to Emerge that day because he was so distraught. I thought he was going to harm himself. Every time he moved, even if it was just floor to floor or down the hallway, he got a new social worker and he got a new CCAC worker, and they were all wonderful, but we were sitting down every single time reinventing this story over and over and over again. And I also felt too that if I wasn't there with him when there was a shift change, they didn't know that this man's wife is dying, or that he'd been on this floor, this facility in the last 8 months. It was a new shift worker. Actually, his journey is not even done yet because he lasted a week in the retirement home. I had to hire 24-hour-a-day care for him because they couldn't cope. And I know that the written records went with him, but there wasn't, in my eyes, that connection, somebody following up with him. For me, as someone who loves him and hates to see that crisis, okay, crisis, how could we make this better for him? Well, his caregivers could make the transition by maybe going with him the first day, so there's that familiar face. Or even things like he was having intensive physiotherapy and then it's instantly cut off as soon as he's gone. Could those things be put in place, even if it's a cost to the family or whatever, because that's part of his psyche, that's part of his program, it was part of his routine every day. The individual people that worked with him were all phenomenal, but the connection needs to be made. And I know it's time consuming, but to me, in the long run, it's not, because we're not readmitting him to Emerge because he's had another crisis.